Greetings from ecomaine, Maine's only community-owned nonprofit waste management company. We process about 1/3 of Maine's trash and recycling here, just 2 miles from the Portland airport. We're a nonprofit, so that means we're focused on doing what's best with your recyclable materials. But we need your help. Our state-of-the-art recycling center is a combination of manual, mechanical, and optical sorting technologies to produce separate bales of each product we sell. The more you know about what we can and cannot recycle and how it all works, the better we can keep our workers safe, our machines working efficiently, and we can get the most out of your paper, plastic, metal, glass, and cardboard. But how does single sort recycling work? Well, you use recyclable materials every day from your cereal box, milk jug, toilet paper tube, aluminum foil, yogurt cup, spaghetti sauce jar, and you get the picture. Those recyclable items are made of paper, rigid plastic, metal, glass, or cardboard, and they can go in your recycling bins on your curbside, at your transfer station, or at a drop-off location, where they're then driven to our facility. When trucks arrive, they get weighed so we can see how much recycling they bring us. The recycling sorting journey begins on the tip floor, where trucks back up and empty out all their contents inside our single-sort recycling building. An ecomaine employee watches loads dump out and has to inspect them to estimate how much trash or other non-recyclables are in the recycling. To make sure you're only putting the right things in your recycling bin, go to ecomaine.org and click on the Recycling and Waste Disposal tab, or download our free app called the Recyclopedia. From the tip floor, everything is scooped up by a giant front loader and put onto a conveyor belt that leads to the drum feeder. Inside the drum feeder, a slow-moving, large metal cylinder meters out the material, allowing just the right amount to come out on the other side. Even though we process about 18 tons, or 36,000 pounds per hour, too much material at a time could cause backups and other problems later on. From the drum feeder, recycling moves up a hill and past a manual sorter. This person is responsible for removing materials incorrectly placed in recycling bins. Items like diapers, shoes, scrap metal, large bulky plastics, chains, pipes, full trash bags, textiles, hoses, and rope can cause damage to our equipment, injury to workers, and a reduction in the quality of materials we sell to our buyers. Please note that we want your recycling to come to us loose and not in any type of bag. That way we can see what is going through our machines and the bags don't break open and get stuck in our equipment. In the cardboard sorting screen, rows of metal axles and very large rubber sorting stars all turn together at widely spaced intervals, so that the large and light cardboard serves up and over the rubber stars, while the plastic, metal, glass, and paper fall through. Smaller cardboard pieces also fall through, along with non-recyclable material and trash, and all are taken out by between 6 and 12 more manual sorters in the next room. These items are thrown downstairs into 2 separate compartments. The cardboard joins the larger cardboard that was sorted out earlier by the rubber stars, while the non-recyclables and trash are kept separate. Trash in the recycling stream can be a huge problem and can be up to 13% per day, meaning that only 87% of the materials coming to us are actually recyclable. To give you a visual, this is about 8 bales of trash each day at about 1,500 pounds each. These trash bales are transferred next door to our waste-to-energy facility. All this non-recyclable material wastes precious sorting time and causes our recyclables to fetch a lower price. But by putting the right stuff in the right bin, we all win. The next sorting process takes out the paper products in what we call the paper sorting screen. The recycling, minus the large and small cardboard, and some trash move to this area, which consists of more steel axles and rotating, smaller rubber stars. There are 2 screens, stacked one on top of the other, containing about 300 sorting stars, which move light and fluffy paper up the stars and over onto the paper conveyor belt, while the heavier or bulkier plastic, metal, and glass items fall between the stars onto their own conveyor belt. The paper flows back through the manual sorting room for one more pass at removing all non-recyclable items, and then goes downstairs to be baled. This paper baler is running almost all day, as about 6 out of every 10 bales, or 60% of what we receive each day, is paper. As the paper is baled and wrapped with wire, It is moved over to be inspected for any non-paper items, which are pulled out by hand. Paper bales are put into stacks inside the building so they're not rained or snowed on, as they wait to be put on giant tractor trailers. From ecomaine, they'll go off to be pulped up and turned into new paper products. But back to the sorting process. After falling through the rubber sorting stars, the metal, glass, and plastic run under a very strong magnet which removes all ferrous items, including spaghetti sauce and salsa jar lids, soup cans, pots, pans, and so much more. The powerful magnet is surrounded by a circular belt that grabs all ferrous items, carries them a few feet, and then throws them into a large bin. When this bin is full, the metal will be baled, but more on that later. The remaining glass and plastic continue on their way to the glass breaking screen, where glass is moved over metal stars and broken. The broken glass then falls between the stars, where it's further crushed and finally put into a large container to be taken to the ecomaine landfill, which is located just 3 miles from the recycling facility. Here, it waits to be picked up for free for a project like making recycled glass countertops, used as a filler in construction projects, or as filling in potholes. As the glass is broken, the plastic and aluminum come out the other side unharmed after bouncing over the metal stars. The aluminum cans, foil, and pie plates are taken out with an eddy current magnet, which repels the metal away from the magnet using an electromagnet field instead of grabbing it. Aluminum has its own bin, separate from the ferrous metals, where it waits to be baled. The last material to be sorted is rigid plastic containers labeled 1 through 7. A machine called the optical sorter takes out the number 1 plastic, or PET. The machine only reads number 1 because that's what we've set the robot to read. The job of this optical sorter is to read the chemical makeup of all the materials that pass under it and send an instantaneous puff of air directed at the number 1 plastics only. This causes the number 1 plastic container to be compelled up and over a void, which the number 2 through 7 containers drop into. The number 1 plastics then go into a separate belt and into a separate bin. Now, what would happen if you put a number 1 plastic container in the recycling bin that still had some liquids or even solids in it? The plastic couldn't be sorted and would be considered as trash. ecomaine needs your help to make sure all the materials are emptied of all their contents before you put them in the recycling bin. Items don't have to be clean, but they must be emptied in order to be recycled properly. The last sorting step is more manual sorting. Number 2 natural, number 2 colored, and number 3 through 7 plastics are sorted into 3 more bins. These materials are sorted separately because different types of plastic sell for different value amounts. These sorters are also removing any leftover non-recyclable material that was not removed in the previous sorting room. If any paper, plastic, metal, glass, or cardboard is left on the conveyor belt at the end of the sorting process, that material will be sent through to be sorted again. Any non-recyclable material is treated as trash, which will head over to the waste-to-energy building next door to be combusted in an environmentally safe way and turned into electricity. To learn more about that fascinating process, watch our waste-to-energy virtual tour too. Think back to the bins that just got filled up with all the stuff that we just sorted. Once a bin is full, a large conveyor belt located in the middle of our building brings each now separated type of material down to the baler, which has been working since 1978. The baler used to bale trash from 1978 to 1988 before our waste-to-energy facility was built. Now it bales cardboard, 4 types of plastic, and 2 types of metal every day. Once a bale is made, it is wrapped with metal wire so it will stay intact while they travel on tractor-trailer trucks. Each of the cardboard, metal, and plastic bales weigh between 1,500 and 2,500 pounds each, and bales of paper can weigh around 4,000 pounds or 2 tons each. As the bale falls off the line with a resounding thump, it is picked up and turned over by a forklift driver. His job is to look for anything that should not be in the bale. For example, we don't want any plastic in the cardboard bale or any metal in the plastic bales. If he sees anything that shouldn't be in that bale, he'll cut it out by hand and then turn it over to see the other sides. Bales with too much contamination will be taken back upstairs and cut open to flow through the process again. Bales that look clean on the outside are clean on the inside and then are moved to piles to wait for pickup. From our bale yard, material is picked up in semi-trucks and taken to numerous locations around the United States and the world. Our cardboard, metal, plastic, and glass material stays domestically, but our paper often goes to international sources. At the next locations, our materials are cleaned and made ready to turn into new items. Instead of relying on fresh natural resources like trees, petroleum products, and metal ore, recycling allows new to be made from old. Try to reduce, reuse, and compost as much as possible too, because just recycling alone will not help conserve the world's resources for future generations. So now that you know how single-sort recycling works, what can you do to recycle right? Learn what ecomaine actually accepts at our facility and avoid wish cycling, as in, I wish I could recycle this bowling ball, chainsaw, propane tank, Christmas lights, etc. Visit ecomaine.org for our do's and don'ts of recycling, and try our free app called the Recyclopedia to look up over 1,000 items and how to dispose of them properly. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to learn more every day too. And finally, feel free to email us at info@ecomaine.org with your questions or to schedule a tour to see our facilities for yourself. Thanks for watching from all of us at ecomaine.